guys, Kerry Jacobs here, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day. So I want to show you a painting. I want to go into a bit more detail about how I do things. I'm a self-taught painter, so I probably have my own little quirky ways of doing things. So I'm going to be painting a picture of the Earth today, a self-portrait, I guess, in a way. So yeah, let's get cracking. Okay, so the first thing I'll be doing is putting a thin coat of gesso over the whole canvas. It's like an acrylic primer. It primes the canvas, makes it so your paint the top layer doesn't just soak into the canvas and dry straight away, and just gives you a nice surface to paint onto. Okay, whilst that's drying, I thought I'd show you my palette, or what I use as a palette. So I use a kind of a DIY stay wet palette. You can make this quite simply yourself at home, because so all you need is a box, like a sandwich box. It must have an airtight seal kind of thing. I would recommend going for one that's a little bit bigger than this, actually, because I'm always running out of room on it. And then all you need, just a sheet of kitchen roll, and in there, and chuck in a little bit of water, just enough to soak the paper. I'll pour out the excess without making a mess. Okay, got a little dribble left in there, but that's what you want. And then you put your greaseproof paper on top. Now, see, that's what you put your paints onto. And then when you put the lid back on, that'll keep it nice and moist and humid in there, so your paints won't dry. If you're using acrylic paints, then that's a constant struggle, is stopping your paints from drying when you don't want them to. And obviously the nice thing about this is clean up afterwards. Once you're done with your paints and you want to, you've done your painting, you can just take this out, chuck it in the bin, nice and easy. No washing up of palettes or anything like that, which is a real pain. There you go. Okay, so I've had a bit of think, gone away, having to think, planned out the painting, how I want it to look. Put in a rough circle here, obviously for the Earth, and a little circle for where I want the sun to be. Just use a simple bit of string, simple. One thing I do have planned for next, though. Right, well, I don't know if I invented this or not. I'm sure somebody else has come up with this idea before, but I use this. So this is just garden mesh. I've cut into a square and bent back some of the sides. Obviously, I've cut it to the right size. So if we turn the canvas around, we can just pop this in like so. And the edges are bent out a little bit to hold itself in there. And you're probably thinking, what on earth is this about? Well, that back up like that. And if I turn on the light, voila. Right, so what this is now you can see a grid on here, and I've got a reference image here with a grid on it, which I'm going to use to kind of get an accurate representation of the Earth on the canvas. In theory, this is just something that I use when I want a quick and easy way of getting a reference image onto canvas without having to worry about drawing and redrawing and spending lots of time getting finicky little details down. So let's see how this goes. Well, that wasn't too bad at all, actually. Conveniently, the angle of the Earth that I've decided to capture is mostly ocean. So that was actually quite quick and easy. So yeah, time to put some colour on it. Okay, so we've made a start, just blocking in colour at the moment. This is really basic stuff. I mean, we're not trying to make it look pretty at the moment, we're just trying to get like the basic foundation colour down, sort of in the right areas. It's sort of the underpainting. So the idea is we're going to be adding layers on top of this, and the basic layer underneath the layer of colour will still show through a little bit, kind of put it all together in theory. Time to just finish up this blocking in of colour and meet you on the other side. Okay, so that's the basic colour down. Basic coat of sort of the underpainting, if you like, is down. So now's time to get down to business and actually start putting a little bit of detail in. We're still not going for like full detail yet, which is still very early stages. This wonderful thing about painting, or if you're using acrylics or oils at least, is you can put something down, and if you don't like it, just wait for it to dry, paint over it. It's fine. You can do whatever you like. So, and this is why I've intentionally kind of kept this really rough and well, it looks a mess at the moment, really, doesn't it? It's not very impressive at all. But it's something that I say all the time. I find myself saying this time and time again, is that anybody who wants to try painting and they try and they do a little picture and it looks a little bit like this and it looks a mess, and then they feel disheartened because they feel like they can't paint because it just looks terrible. Well, most paintings end up looking like this to start with. This is sort of the early stages, and I've not really been putting much effort into trying to make it look good at this point because there's no point. That will come later, and that will come with time. As you add more and more layers, you can just add the detail in bit by bit. and if you add in a little bit that you don't like, then you just paint over it. So let's get started. I do enjoy this phase of a painting, I must admit, because it's the kind of the stress-free part of it, as long as you're kind of in it for the long run, if you like, because you know at this point you can make terrible mistakes and it's not going to matter, because all of this is going to be neatened up drastically by the end of the painting. You're just chucking stuff down and seeing what works and what doesn't at the moment. So you can just do whatever you like and just see what works. So you can just be as messy as you like, really, to a point. And you know, it doesn't matter. You're not going to ruin it by putting a brush stroke in the wrong place. I have learnt how far I can take that logic, though. So if you find that you're trying to do the same thing and it's just turned into a muddy mess and it's all wet and the paint's dripping down and it's all just turned into one big homogeneous splodge, just stop. Stop what you're doing, wait for it to dry, and then carry on. That's an important thing to bear in mind. Okay, so I've just taken the big decision there to coat half of the earth there in thick, wet black paint. Luckily, it hasn't mixed with anything else too badly. It's gone on quite nicely. Yeah, I wanted to make far more of the earth sort of cast in shadow. I think that's going to look a lot better in the long run. So I think it's a good time to move away from that area for now, and move on to the sun, which gives me a good opportunity to explain what I've been doing with this. You might have seen me using my watercolor a couple of times already. So really what this does, it just gives the surface of the canvas just a a little mist of moisture, just enough to make the paint sort of nice and easily blendable. It's a problem with acrylic paint, as I mentioned before. Blending acrylic paint out is one of its biggest weaknesses, because it dries so quickly. You have a very limited time in which to work with it. So pretty much as soon as you put it down on the canvas, it's already working against you to blend it out. Now I'm blending out into dry paint at the moment, which is not the easiest thing in the world, and this sort of helps with that. It helps you blend out into dry paint. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take some black and sort of blend back in. Again, with anything else, don't worry about getting it perfect first time. Like, this is certainly not perfect, but it's getting there. And what I'm going to do now is actually going to take a completely dry brush. A small square brush will do the job. Just going to pull out. Oh god. Oh dear. Picked up too much black there. That didn't go too well. But it's no biggie. That's alright. See, I've already made the mistake, so I might as well just live with it. Carry on what I'm doing. It's not about getting it right first time, it's about building up the layers until you get it right in the end. Okay, I think that's as far as I can go with that for now, without overworking it, so I'm going to let it dry before I carry on. Sorted. Okay, so I've been sat here looking at this for a little while, and I've kind of realised that what I would normally do in the background here is just chuck a load of stars in and kind of give a bit of interest in the, rather than it being plain black, because otherwise that would just be a bit boring. But with the sun shining directly at you like that, it wouldn't really make sense to have lots of stars in the background, because the sun would kind of blot out all the other stars. So we've got two options. We could either just leave it plain black, and I think it would still look okay. It could still work. Or how about we try chucking the moon in there? Let's give that a go. Because we can always just rub it out afterwards, can't we? So I'm going to chuck it in about here. And conveniently, obviously, if I want to make sure it's the right scale, as long as it's roughly the same size as the sun, then I mean, I haven't really measured the sun to make sure that's the scale, but in theory, the moon from this angle should be about the same size as the sun, because that's how you get solar eclipses. Okay, so I'm thinking something like that. Obviously, it needs knitting it up in more detail and what not added to it, but yeah, that could work. Okay, so I think we are finally getting there. This is starting to actually look like a painting now rather than a load of big random splodges. I think we're at the final straight at last. So time to get my head back down, finish this bad boy off. you have it, one completed painting. And one thing left to do is stick a signature on it. Straight. And there we have it, one finished painting. I'm very happy with how it turned out. And it's at this point in the video I'd like to mention my sponsor, which is me. So if you want to support me, there'll be a link to my website in the description below. Go check out prints of this and all of my other paintings there. And if you want this very painting in your own house, you can do that on my website as well, along with all my other paintings, along with many other items as well. Or if not, just a thumbs up and a comment below would be more than appreciated. So let me know below what you want to see next. I've got a couple of ideas for future videos, but I'm always interested to see what you guys want to see, and I will do it if possible to an extent. So from me, that's all I've got time for. If you enjoyed the video, then please consider subscribing for more like this, and I'll be back with another one soon. So until then, cheerio.